away.
You are now 2020's HD, Neil.
Yeah, it's because I'm now on Wi-Fi.
Ah, there we go. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I see your car's still staying on the wall.
Yeah, it survived. It's done a few weeks now. Every time I come in, I look to see the Lego on the floor. But it's doing all right now. But it's been a couple of weeks obviously since we did our last show. Weren't around last week, so since then we've had 9 out of 10 teams I think have unveiled their cars.
Yeah,
Yeah,
9 proper unveilings and
yeah.
the 10th partial.
The 10th is a leaked/partial unveiling. That's only Alpine remaining. Evie J, welcome. Hi, good evening. Welcome in. 9 teams out of 10. So we started with Haas. That was a few weeks ago now. It feels like a couple of weeks, start of the month. And the most recent one was today, which was Mercedes. So in the midst of all that, the other teams have unveiled their cars. And I'll tell you what, there are some gorgeous looking cars.
There's some really good ones.
There are some pretty...
I know a lot of people believe they're copies of last season, really, but I think a few teams have honed the livery a little bit and they're slightly better than last year.
Yeah, we've got some evolutions of liveries. We've got some brand new liveries. I've seen a lot of people saying about there's a lot of carbon on a lot of the liveries this year to do weight saving because of the paint. So, for example, like the Alfa Romeo, you've got a lot of bare carbon on that. But there are some very, very tasty liveries. I think there's only 2, which I'm really disappointed with so far.
Which 2 are they?
Red Bull, because it's just the same every year, which is understandable, I suppose, because it's their corporate colours and you can only expect so much. But it's literally identical to last year, apart from a couple of sponsor changes. And the Alpha Tauri, because I don't like the red from the Orlan on the parts of the rear wing and other parts of the car. I'm not a fan of that. Don't know how you feel about them.
I've heard that mentioned before by someone else. I actually think it's a nice little accent, to be honest.
Yeah, it may grow on me, but I don't know. I'm not won over by it currently. Orlan moving over from Alfa Romeo last year. So you've gone from one Alfa to the other Alfa. But apart from that, obviously you've had Williams, McLaren, Aston as well. The Williams is absolutely gorgeous. I love that. I think that's not even just because I'm a Williams fan. I think that is my favourite of all the ones I've seen so far. The only thing I was disappointed with the Williams was they didn't do more with the Gulf branding, Gulf sponsorship, because they're now in partnership with Gulf. A lot of people were expecting sort of Gulf livery a la McLaren Monaco 2021. Didn't materialise. It's just a nice evolution of last year's livery with Gulf logos on it. But it's pretty. It's a nice looking car. It looks fast.
Yeah, it's possibly not top on my list. I think it's a little bit plain there. It's just a little bit of McLaren 2018. It needs some liveries on it, or needs some sponsors to go on the livery.
There's a few new sponsors on it. Obviously, Gulf being the main one. They've got Duracell, sort of improved branding on the top of the airbox, looking like a Duracell battery. That's some marketing genius. Stevens as well. So there's a couple more sponsors on there. Obviously, they've lost Lavazza and a couple of others because Nicholas Latifi's gone. Evie J, this is Talking F1, my friend. It is 10 to 8, which is the Ipswich Town show. Obviously, stick around for this one if you want to. Football is on in about half an hour. Yes, so the Williams, they've done a shakedown with it as well. Obviously, we're now into the stage where teams have started to do shakedowns of their various cars. Williams had theirs at Silverstone. And from what they were saying, certainly Alex Albon, he was talking good things. He was saying it was feeling good, and they've addressed a lot of the issues they had last year. Obviously, it's early days, but positive seeds are growing.
Always good to hear the drivers having good comments and the team being enthusiastic about what progress have made. Yeah. That's something that has been said about Ferrari.
Yeah.
They're really, really optimistic.
Ferrari's car launch as well. But I've got to talk about the actual launches themselves because Red Bull's was terrible. It lasted forever. They talked to people who weren't relevant. Bro, hey brother. So many brothers. And then it was just like, and here's last year's car with a slightly altered livery. And everyone's going, oh, all right. More fuss was made of the Ford deal, I think, because obviously Ford coming back into the sport now.
Alfa Romeo's was interesting.
Yeah.
because they had them guys chatting, and then on a screen behind them, it was basically leaked before they showed us.
Oh crap! There's the car. Oh no, dear. Ferrari's launch was the best because everyone thought it'd be possibly digital renders or show the car, or maybe last year's car with delivery, and then it was just like, yeah, here's the car, and we're now going to bomb it around Fiorano Circuit for you all to watch. And everyone's going, this is amazing. So that was a hell of a launch. Fair play to Ferrari.
Yeah, it was quite good. People have said that that's how they should be done from now on.
Absolutely. I don't want to see digital renders. I don't want to see Red Bull doing a 2022 car with the 23 livery on. I don't want to see show cars. I want to see this year's car in some kind of fancy situation. So I want to see it blitzing around a track, which is always risky, isn't it? Because if your car has a reliability issue and you go, and here's the car. Oh, okay.
That's on the something that was said about the Alpine. It managed its shakedown. Well, I'd hope so.
Exactly. And it's got, no, it's back. Okay, we'll postpone. But yeah, they should big fancy car launches with lots of hoo-ha, lots of sing and dance. I love that. Like they used to sort of late 90s, early noughties when you had Jenson Button and Hamilton building their McLaren, or you had was it the Red Square with the Jordan years ago, and Spice Girls playing it at a McLaren launch. Oh dear. Talking of McLaren, your boys, what do you think of their car?
Well, your team got the Golf sponsorship.
Yeah, we did.
So I was expecting the blue to disappear, but it hasn't. It's reduced, in which I'm happy with, because, well, I don't really know why we've got it anymore, because we haven't got the Golf anymore. But other than that, strange. I like the extra black that's there. I always liked Arrows back in the day, which was black and orange.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people keep crying out for silver again, but obviously that was Mercedes.
Yeah,
when we had that, and that's not purely McLaren.
No, there was a lot of call. I've seen over the years. Obviously, McLaren have had some gorgeous liveries in the past. About when they reunited with Honda, about going back to that red and white, but that wasn't McLaren, that was Marlboro. Or going back to the sort of silver and the chrome and black, which was it West in early noughties? It
was West in the Mercedes, yeah.
And then the Vodafone of the sort of later in the decade. But they were the corporate, they were the colours of the sponsor. It was Vodafone, it was West, it was Marlboro, whoever. So I am surprised that they've still got the blue. I love the orange and black because, like yourself, big fan of the Arrows cars from 20 odd years ago. They were beautiful. And they stick out because I love seeing colourful, bright cars. And I love what they've done with the Chrome, the Google Chrome logos, which they did last year on the wheel covers. They are fantastic. That's marketing genius.
Yeah, I don't mind them. I know a lot of people have mentioned that they think they're hideous, basically.
No, I love them.
I think they're all right.
Yeah, they really.
I get that they don't really go with the car, but at least on the engine cover, you've got Google Chrome on there.
Yeah,
so at least
that's sort of the only thing I'm not overly keen on. Is it just seems to be sort of there's no sort of real uniformity to it. So you've got obviously the orange and the black, which looks really great. Bit of the blue as well, and then they've just kind of gone bonk Google Chrome on the side, and it's a big sort of quite garish logo, and it looks quite cool on the wheel covers, but on the engine cover, I'm not so sure. Just sort of like it's a bit slap it on, job done. But
yeah, you almost need Google to do a Paint Shop Pro version of their logos. Yeah. Do something with the colours. Either fade them out a little bit or invert them in some way to so it's not quite like a kid splattered the paintbrushes on the car.
Yeah, there's potential, but talking of potential, Gulf have said they might do they haven't ruled out a special livery or two for Williams this year, which will be quite nice. Mike Baker, evening, welcome in. No worries for being late, don't apologise. New look Mercedes, sexy. It is a pretty car. That was revealed quite early on today, I think. We had it on TV in the background at work, and it just sort of popped up on the screen. And
did I look at it about 9 o'clock time?
Yeah, quite early on, wasn't it? And they've got gone back to black, which they used for 2020, 2021. Those couple of years.
What colour overalls did they have last season?
I think they still had black.
Yeah, so that wasn't a giveaway for this season then, because
Yeah.
I did see their black overalls and I
Mm.
wondered, but I couldn't remember what they had the last.
Yeah. If they were completely done with the black livery, you'd have thought they'd have gone back to the silver or the sort of the great, the old style race suits they wore from previous years. But yeah,
I
kept the black
think
race suits.
they're in the same camp as everyone else, struggling for the weight, and
Mm.
where's an easy way of removing a little bit and
Yeah,
take the paint off.
blank carbon. But it's obviously it's all black, but a little strip of the Petronas colours down the side and a little strip of silver. It looks tasty. It does. It does. Yeah, like it looks mean. Um, hopefully, it's going to be slightly more competitive than its predecessor. But it does look like a nice car. If if championships were fought on the prettiness of the car and how aggressive they look, the Mercedes would be right up there, and the Ferrari. Red Bull just looks like Red Bull, so it's nothing new to say about that. But yeah, they are obviously we've seen 9 out of 10 cars. So Alpine have got a lot to live up to now because there's no ugly liveries this year so far. I mean, the Haas of the past couple of years has been pretty poor, but this year's Haas looks lovely. Looks really nice.
Yeah, I was just looking at a picture of it. I think with the extra black and now they've got the flag well behind them, you can concentrate on being the team they should be.
Yeah, yeah. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to work for Haas this year. Third time lucky, of course, with the title sponsor as well. They've gone from Rich to Ural Kali, and now MoneyGram. So fingers crossed. The branding does look nice on that car as well. So as I say, it's all down to Alpine. When does their launch? Is it tomorrow or the day after?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. So one more to go, and then next stop pre-season testing. It's just such an exciting time of year with the cars break cover and that you get even if they are digital renders, still gets me excited.
Yeah, we're still yet to really see what the cars are actually going to be design-wise. So many of them cover up or use last year's things. Or
that's the problem, isn't it? Everyone gets a bit nosy about what's going on and keep it under wraps. So I'm just having a look at some of the photos from the different liveries. So,
what do you think of the Ferrari strakes on the front wing? They copied basically Mercedes' idea from last season that was outlawed, but with the changing of the rules.
It's interesting. They could be onto something there. They reckon they've gone in a different direction. Obviously, they've resolved a lot of the issues from last year. They've gone a bit of a different direction. The car, they've got the similar sort of side pods, like the bathtub type side pods. A few other bits and pieces, like that front wing. That looks interesting. I'm intrigued. It looks aggressive. And they were saying good things when it was on track yesterday. Carlos and Charles had some very, very nice things to say about it. Fred Vasseur having his influence, no doubt. Well, not on this year's car because it's too late for him, isn't it?
But Ferrari have gone the opposite to pretty much a lot of the others, where the nose connects down onto the front wing. Yeah. They're on the second flap rather than the first. A lot of them, like Aston, have swapped to go down onto the first, the main plane.
Yeah.
Whereas,
actually, I can see that now, yeah.
Ferrari have done the same as McLaren, and I'm not sure if there's many others. Because they were down onto the first last season.
Yeah, the Williams is down on the first this year again. Actually, I'm just going through some of the photos. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. Aston, yeah. What about Mercedes? They've done.
They're on the first.
On the first, yeah. So
unless Alfa Romeo change, they're on the second.
Yeah. So I'd tell you what, I like the sort of the difference in. Obviously, you had last year where there was some different takes on, because everyone was a bit concerned that because it was the first year of these new cars, all the cars were going to look the same in terms of body and that sort of thing, and the styling and the design. And you had some of the differences, like the AlphaTauri had those sort of square inlets on the side pods. The Ferrari had the weird bathtub thing. And I like how we're now in the second year of this this regulation, and you got teams that are now experimenting a bit more and sort of changing designs, and like Ferrari with the front wing and Mercedes. The back of the Mercedes looks really aggressive. There's a lot of shape there.
Quite a lot of the teams are putting the bathtub in somewhere, because even the Mercedes have got a bathtub, but it's higher up on the engine cover rather than on the side pod that they've even the side pods increased a little bit. It's not quite size 0.
It's not quite as 0 as it was, is it?
0.5 now.
Yeah, it's put on a little bit over the festive period. But yeah, I like how other teams are. Yeah, they're starting to branch out a little bit and come up with these interesting designs. So I hope that this year and next year they are going to be a little bit closer. Certainly, between the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari, fighting Red Bull. I think Red Bull are still going to be the team to beat this year. I think that's pretty obvious how well they did last year. But yeah, it's looking good. So if you had to, obviously you've got 9 out of 10. If you had to pick your favourite out of the 9 we've seen so far, what would you go for?
My favourite? I'm not sure. Thing is, I have a difference between livery and car design. I like some of the design because we haven't really spoken about Aston Martin much yet.
No.
I actually quite like a lot of the features the Aston Martin have put on. But obviously the green was what we were expecting them to be. They're a little bit in the Red Bull and Ferrari camp with that one. It's pretty much nailed on. Yeah,
looking at the Aston now, actually, I've not paid that much attention to it, to be honest, because my first thought was, oh, yeah, it's green, and we're done. But towards the back, they've got a really aggressive drop-off on the side pods.
Yeah.
It really tucks in and then drops away, doesn't it?
Alpine quite a lot. Someone had commented that Alonso took the plans.
Use the plans, but don't take the engine. That's a good way of doing it. Because the Alpine wasn't a bad car last year. It was just the Renault power unit in the back that let him down.
Yeah. They were
sorry, carry on.
There or thereabouts quite a lot, and then engine failure.
Yeah. But yeah, there's quite an aggressive drop on the side pods. It tucks in, like at the front by the cockpit. It really tucks in like a bathtub effect, and then really drops away.
Yep.
Mike, what are you saying? Aston Martin first. Ooh. Is that in terms of car design or livery? Mercedes a close second. You know what? The Mercedes is tasty. So if you had to go for a livery rather than a car design, what would you say your livery would be?
That's difficult. I think I'm going to have to go. It's between Ferrari and Aston Martin for me. I think I'm going to go for Aston Martin on this one. I am liking what they're going for.
Yeah, it's very close. I think my favourite is the Williams because I think they've taken the sort of the elements from last year, which grew on me over the course of the year, and they've tidied it up and they've added a couple of little bits here and there and polished it a bit. They've gone for the matte effect as well, which does look really cool. Obviously, it's lighter as well. So in terms of the livery, it's very close with Williams first, and then I'd say Ferrari second. Ferrari, it's going to be red, which is always a given, but it's just what they do with it. And then there's other little bits which make it even better. Like last year, for example, when they had that special one-off livery in Monza, they had the yellow old-school Ferrari across the rear wing, and they've kept it this year, albeit in white. But they've kept Ferrari across the rear wing, and it's little details like that which I love, like the old Ferrari logo.
Yeah, it's in the old school writing.
Yeah, it's so nice. The only thing I'm a little unsure of is on the side pods, it's got that weird
splash of black.
Or is that the
sponsor? I've heard others mention that.
It's odd.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. You think it stands out.
Yeah, but they're Ferrari and they can do what the hell they want. And it's better than that luminous green Mission Win Now thing they had on the airbox for a couple of years. That was awful. But yeah, it's a tasty car. It really is. What would you say that? Okay, there's some good looking cars there, but what would you say would be your least favourite out of all the ones we've got? Obviously, chat as well. Least favourites.
I think it's a lot better than it has been, but Haas is still down there for me.
Really?
There is also a joggle up on that one with Red Bull because I don't know, it's just a bit boring. I'm fed up of seeing. You think however many ways there are to jazz up the Red Bull car. It's just that dark blue with the bull on the front and the engine cover.
There's I do like how Red Bull have stayed true to the very first one. They've always had it throughout their season, which is the yellow nose cone. I do like that. But yeah, you think what they can do is it the years when they were sponsored by Infinity when they had that nice gloss purple on the side of the car. That looked really nice and it fitted really well. And yeah, it's just a bit of a obviously you know what you're going to get with Red Bull, and every year their livery designer is absolutely stealing a living. Same as Ferraris. Just paint it red. That's my money done for the year. Job done. We'll see you in 2024. But it's just, it's just red. It's just dull now. I think that's the point. Other teams can mix it up a bit. But
yeah, they done that season where they were the first team to go matte, whereas all the others were still gloss. So that was a bit of a change up. But ever since then, it's not really done anything.
No. I would say, looking at them, I'm a big fan of the Haas this year, certainly compared to, I mean, it's nothing special, but certainly compared to 2022s and certainly 2021s, it is so much better. I like they've got the splash of red still with the white. The core color is now black. I do like that, but for me, it's got to be the AlphaTauri. Last year's car was very nice. That sort of matte, deep blue and the white. And there's a lot less of that this year. And it's just, these odd red splashes of. Random. Your mic. There we go. So that you dare start playing up again. Webcam's been behaving for the past few weeks. So it's just, I don't know. It's not an ugly car by any means. It's just that was the one that sort of sits lowest for me at the minute. It might look different when I see it on the track, but
I'm questioning whether Alfa Romeo just pips Haas to be my least favourite.
Really? I think Alfa's quite pretty. It's the last Alfa.
It is. But I don't know. It's just the car in general isn't really doing it for me.
I think the sort of the 2019, 2020 sort of Alfa Romeos, I think they were better looking. I think I liked the white and the sort of the nice shiny red with the big Alfa logo on the airbox as well. I preferred that. It's nice, but again, it's just so much carbon. It's the red and the black works well together, but it's just weight saving and carbon.
What is your favourite design on a Sauber?
Ooh, on the Sauber. That is tricky.
For me, it's got to be back to when you had the likes of Kimi and Felipe there.
I was thinking the early
where it's that blue, the white,
Petronas Saubers.
Yeah, and they had I'm sure they had Red Bull involved as well.
Yeah, late 90s, early 90s, they had a bit of Red Bull sponsorship on there. I did like the BMW Saubers, although I hated them as well because BMW abandoned Williams for Sauber. And I did remember back in 2017, they had that sort of blue and gold one. That was pretty. It was an awful, awful car, but it was a nice looking thing. Pascal Wehrlein, and I want to say Marcus Ericsson. But yeah, I think the Petronas Saubers for 20 odd years ago, they were peak Sauber livery. Mike Claper, rubbings about some of the drop-off side pods. People were worried about engines overheating. Sure, if that was the case, they wouldn't be using that design. You ready for lights out? I'm very much ready for lights out. I can't wait for that first lights out and away we go of the season. Engines overheating. It only really seemed to be Ferrari and Alpine that had sort of repeated engine issues last year. I can't think of any team that really struggled, apart from those two, that particularly struggle with reliability.
No, I don't really think it's going to be too much of a problem. I'm hoping Ferrari have theirs sorted now.
Well, they reckon they've sorted out the reliability issues and they've gained some of the horsepower they lost for not having a legal engine. And having to obviously tone it down because of the reliability issues. They lost, 30 horsepower, they reckon, because of last year's reliability problems.
Yep.
And so they reckon they've clawed that back, which would be good.
They're supposed to be a second a lap quicker, according to their design team.
I'll tell you what, that Ferrari is going to win the championship this year, and it's going to be absolutely gorgeous when it does. Charles Leclerc is going to win it in Japan. Calling it. Please. Just someone different again now. But I don't think there's been so much concern about the engine overheating. Plus, obviously, they've had over a year now to sort of work on these restrictions and these rules and these technical regulations. So, they were talking about it. Aston Martin.
I'm hoping Lando has a car that he can actually. Because a couple of seasons ago, he was fighting for podiums and potential wins, and
Last year
that
was
just
a letdown,
disappeared. Yeah.
Was it 2021 when he got that pole in Russia, but made the wrong tyre call?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so.
I think Hamilton got it.
Was that the one where him and Lewis were up at the front, and then
that's it?
Yeah, they made the wrong call.
Yeah, that's it. I remember that because there was a radio engineer, Lance Stroll, the radio engineer, came on and goes, "Do you want to come in for interims? Are you okay on these tyres?" And Lance said, "No, I'm fine," and then spun it and crashed into the wall like 3 corners later.
I'm loving how, well, other than the Aston Martin showing off the car, the reveal, it was like being at a funeral. That's how much get up and go they had.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Suits.
But the bigging up of Lance Stroll, they still think he's an amazing driver. So,
well, we said Fernando's said that he reckons Lance Stroll's got what it takes to be world champion.
Let's see, shall we?
How much has Lawrence Stroll paid you to say that, Fernando? Come on, is that in his contract? He must at least 3 compliments for Lance a year. That's what he can do. He's gonna out qualify him at every race, unless Fernando has a problem. He's gonna out qualify Lance at every race, guaranteed. Stroll is in for a tough season. But where does that leave Lawrence Stroll? Because obviously his son is going to be the one who's going to be absolutely whitewashed by Fernando. And he's going to make Stroll look distinctly average. What does he do? I can't fire him. He's my son.
Yeah, he'll be worrying if that's not the case.
Yeah. If Lance starts beating Fernando, then it's time for Fernando to go.
Yeah, El Plan will be gone wrong again.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he had obviously Seb as a teammate. Seb was not the Seb of old, but Fernando is still very much Fernando of old. He's still very much on it and one of the quickest drivers on the grid, guaranteed. So I think Lance Stroll's in for a bit of a wake-up call this year. Hopefully Aston will give them the car to actually compete for decent points. I think the midfield could be a lot closer this year. If what they're saying, certainly with like a team like Williams, for example, if what they're saying about how the car is acting on track and they've got rid of a lot of these gremlins that was plaguing them last year, if it can hold them back into points contention, just so they can finish maybe above 9th, that'd be lovely. I'm sick of going, well, we finished 10th, which is great. I want to actually celebrate a 6th or a 5th or a podium or a win. No, it's not getting myself.
Points. Just a little bit of a jump.
Just something, just to be actually competitive. And now, jury's still out on Logan Sargent. I don't know. He talks the talk, but everyone could say they're a quick and good driver. I could say I could, but I'll be interested to see how he'll be more competitive than Latifi, but I'll be interested to see how he gets on against Albon. It's a transitional year for Williams, I think, but it could be a good one. Also, with James Vowles in charge now as well. He officially starts work at Williams in 5 days' time. I can't wait.
What about De Vries at AlphaTauri?
I would put, I don't know, if I was to say about a finishing order in the constructors, I'll put AlphaTauri 9th, I think, mainly because of their driver pairing. Sonoda is quick, but he can be a bit erratic. He's still bedding in. De Vries is still largely untested. He obviously had the one-off at Williams, and he did very well in that. But I don't know. I think they're going to struggle, certainly against the teams that you would expect to be around them. So you've got Haas, with Hülkenberg and Magnussen, very experienced. Williams, you've got Albon, quick driver, good driver. We know he is, and experienced. Logan Sargent, we'll wait and see. But I think De Vries will be all right. But I think it's going to be a difficult year for AlphaTauri. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I can see that being the case. Tsunoda had a poor season for me last season. That was, to be fair on him, I think the car wasn't great. Gasly has had one of his worst seasons as well.
Yeah, Alpine are going to be in for a tough year, I reckon, as well, because Ocon and Gasly don't really get on, apparently, so they say. And Well, if they can sort out the car and the reliability, they could be okay because they're both quick drivers. But I think it could be a tricky year for them. I think they'll be fighting, sort of the likes of Aston Martin maybe this year, as opposed to fighting for that sort of fourth again. I think it'll be a bit of a step back for them.
Yeah, I know quite a few would disagree with that one, but that's more where I agree with.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure if McLaren have done a step or not, but
I hope so.
They'll be at the front end of. I think Aston are going to push more into that midfield because they fell away at the start of last season, didn't they? And then had to try and scrap the lower end. But
the gains they made towards the end of last year were positive.
Yeah, I think they'll continue to progress, and then with the likes of Alonso there, they'll fight
the
a bit
first
in.
car in their new facility, isn't it? Their new feature at Silverstone. So things are improving there. We shall certainly wait and see. Right, I think we have come to the end of our little half-hour slot here. So we've got the football show on in but at the moment. So we'll be back next week. Obviously, we'll have all of the cars next week, so we'll get an idea then of all of the liveries, and we can compare them all together and maybe put them in an order of where we think they are livery-wise and where they're going to finish maybe in the constructors. So thank you very much for watching. Appreciate the comments, appreciate you getting involved, giving us your opinions. So we are back next Wednesday at 7:15 again to break down all the liveries and see if there's any other big news in Formula One. So I've been Steve, he has been Neil. We shall see you next week. Cheers.